Welcome to Talk Business with Audrey. Hosted by Audrey Bell Carney. The show that helps everyday people turn their big ideas into successful businesses so that they can live the boss life. Sit back and take notes.
Here I am again. I told you I'll be back again with another great guest. You had one yesterday, you had two last week, you got one today and one on Sunday. I'm gonna keep bringing them to y'all. Some amazing women from the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce. I'm happy to be here today with Miss Bridget. I call her Queen Bridget, y'all. Queen Bridget, Miss Bridget Smith Hayes, and she is gonna be talking to us about your energy. She is the president and founder of Akillo Life, and I think that for a lot of people, they don't understand about energy. You know, some people even think it's taboo, Bridget. So we're going to get into all of that today. But thank you again for being here. She's a master masseuse. She makes people feel good on all levels, energetically and all. And she's an intuitive. So I'm happy to have her here. She's not new to the show. She's been here before, but just in case you didn't meet her before, you get a chance to meet her now. So again, welcome, Bridget.
Thank you, Audrey. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and just share with everyone about what you were talking about, the energy and just being alive, you know, being good with yourself, being good with your body. Yes. So thank you.
There are some people, Bridget, they don't. Now, here's my thing. I follow the science, right? And you got people who don't believe in the science. And by the way, y'all, we are streaming live right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Amazon. So shout out to everybody at Amazon that always stop by to see us. We're streaming live on all of those platforms. There are a lot of people out there who don't believe or who don't understand the science behind who we are as a human race, right? Yeah. They don't understand we're all made of energy. And so you'll get the scholars and you'll get the religious people, and so it's this whole big. It's almost like an energetic war going on per se, because you got the science, and then you have the people on this side who say, this is what it is, and you got this group. So I'm glad you're here today to talk about, the difference in helping people understand, like, we are all energy, and there's science to prove it, y'all. I mean, Bridget is not making this up. There's science out there, and so I'm glad for you to be here. So before we get into all of the energy stuff, tell us about who Bridget is and how you got to this point where you became a master masseuse and also into energy healing.
All right. So I was born Bridget Althea Smith. So basically my name kind of says it all. Bridget is a strong woman. Althea is healer. And Smith is, you think of a blacksmith person that makes stuff, right? With their hands, uses their hand. So I love names. So you see how I just kind of went into that. And even Hayes, the last name, is a protector. It puts things in fences and sees about what's within. So let me start off by saying, when I was younger, many people feel this because all of us are made of energy and we come to this plane for a purpose. So when I was younger, I used to always feel like, oh my goodness, something isn't right. Or I used to have like different things. I would talk to my cousins and say how I would feel about different things. And they would be looking at me like, you kind of off. So I eventually stopped talking about it, but I knew that there was always a part of us that was energetic. I come from a very loving family that we touched a lot as far as healing. We hugged, we embraced, showed a lot of affection. And it was through then that I understood what touch meant, because we would have times, I don't know, I'm quite sure many people were like me when I was growing up too, when we would have moments like after we've eaten what my grandmother would call supper, and we would have our baths and everything, and then we're sitting down, and that was a grooming time for all of us, where the aunts and the cousins would braid each other's hair. We're getting hairs ready for the next day, and then I would have my aunts who would do my hair, and as a return from me, what they would say, I had one aunt, my Aunt Maddie, she would say, Bridget, sit back and let me show you how to massage my neck. So I would say she was my first instructor.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, of course, with mom, putting the lotion on the back and everything when we're sitting down. So I really learned it from then. And I really saw what effect it had on my aunts, my cousins, once we, had those times of exchange. And it really did mean a lot. Now, going back to the science of everything, I would say that there are several studies that go to show when babies, infants, if they don't have that touch, if they're not near people that are touching them, the growth of the child is retarded, right? So the child does not grow as much. And then if they don't get any touch, actually they can die as a result of that. So let's go into everything that we're talking about with us now, right? And that's how I got into it, because as I'm getting to be an adult now, I'm looking at the news, and people are touching and no one wants you to touch them. And then, of course, when this pandemic happened, oh my goodness, no one could be around anyone. The elderly couldn't be with their grandchildren. And oh my goodness, how much the little ones add life to our elders. Yeah, I just see all of that. And right now, we're just in this deprivation from touch. We're touch deprived. And it shows in the way of our behaviors now. You just have people that are seem like they're losing their mind. And I really do think it's contributed to the lack of touch.
I want to share a story real quick. One of my friends, her best friend was pregnant, and she went into the hospital to have her baby. And after she gave birth to the baby, something happened, some kind of complication happened where she got this edema all over her entire body, and she just swelled up, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. The only thing they said saved her life was that, and they had gave her up. They said, we don't know what's wrong. We don't know if we can save her. So they had gave her up, but they brought the baby to her room, and they laid the baby on her chest, and she pulled through. And I remember my friend telling me this story. I still get kind of choked up because it was such a crazy story. She said all of the nurses and doctors came to her room and said, you are a miracle walking, because they had given her up because they couldn't figure out what was wrong. They couldn't figure out what happened. And they said when they laid that baby on her chest, it brought her back. And whatever happened, it went away. But they had given her, they call a family in, because she was here in Georgia and she had to fly to Texas. She had to fly to Texas because they was like, no, was it Alabama? I think it might have been Alabama, but whichever state it was, she had to fly because they had said, you know what? They don't think she's going to make it. Wow. Laid her baby on her chest, and she survived. And everybody came in to see her after that because they said, this is a miracle. So when you talk about the transferring of energy, when you talk about us being energy people, us being energy beings, I think that's important. But before we get into that, I want to ask you, what were you doing before you decided to get into this line of business?
I was an executive administrative assistant for corporate America. And so I was I was out there, spending all the energy and mind work, shuffling papers, all those other good things, right? But I enjoyed that. But at a point in time in my life, it was like, oh my God, sometimes your gift, your calling calls you, and you have to come out from doing what you were doing. Yes.
Yeah, I like that. So another corporate jumper, y'all. I've interviewed. You are the fourth. I think you're the fourth corporate jumper that I've had on this show in the last week or so. Everybody jumped ship. Now Shantae did tell us she was kind of pushed out, but most of them just jumped. And so Bridget decided she wanted to take that leap as well. And here we are today. Now, I've talked to a lot of people about a lot of things. And Helkes, let me give you my take on some things. I believe that there are too many mysteries in this world for me to be conformed to one way of thinking. It's too many.
Yes.
It's too many for me. So I hear people who believe wholeheartedly on one side. I hear people who believe wholeheartedly on the other side. And then for me, there's the science, right? Right. But then there's some people who will fight science tooth and nail saying it's not true. So let's talk about energy. Talk about, now, you and I know Einstein was the greatest to bring us energy. He and Tesla, right? And they brought it from a scientific point of view. But there's other science out there that talks about energy. And let's talk about the healing. I can tell you right now, when the pandemic hit, I was one of the people walking around with gloves on everywhere I went. And I thought I was being extremely careful, and I was, but there was a time in that part of my life where me wearing gloves, us not touching, still didn't save like one of the person that I probably loved the most outside of my daughter and my granddaughter, my husband, my brothers, all those people, my mom. And we weren't touching. And Bridget, when I tell you, I wished I could have hugged her just one more time. But because I figured that we would transfer something to her, and I already knew that she had a weak immune system, we didn't hug, we didn't touch, but we didn't have to. She hugged the baby all the time. And so that's how we all got exposed to COVID. And then we lost her. But I wished I had known then what I know now. I would have hugged her one more time. And I didn't get that chance because we were so afraid. So when you talk about touch and us being so disconnected because of the pandemic, I don't even know how do we get back to the place where we start. Because even now, Bridget, I go in the grocery store, I'm looking around for the hand things and wipe the carts down. We never did that before. How do we get back to that place? Because I think a lot of us are still scarred, including me.
Yes. Of course. I mean, look, there was so much trauma going on, and just many people were terrified of the virus and contracting it or what have you. But just like with any other trauma that you would have, you basically, we just have to get back to a point of, accepting what's going on, accepting your feelings of how you feel, but then going within and kind of, you more or less have to coach yourself off the cliff, right? By first easing into it, easing back into it. If you were once wearing gloves and you still have to wear gloves to touch somebody, okay, that's fine. But at least getting around the people, starting to go back out and socialize. You don't have to touch, but just be around. And then around family members who you love. If you have children, you have little ones that you can start back just holding hands, for a little bit. If you have a spouse or some other significant one that you can just hold hands with and walk. Just basically doing some of the things that you did before the pandemic and just allowing yourself the freedom to do it. Okay. Some things, you might have to do it afraid. That's just how we do many things when we're trying to transition to another area. Right. So getting back into it, we just have to get back into the swing of those things, going out, getting involved with other people, and touching. You have to touch at one point or another, right? With the people around you. Yes. So that's one way to do it. Just ease your way back in. Don't go out there and just start hugging on people, especially if you have some phobias or whatever. But at least, even if you do the dap, you know how people doing the dap now. So just some type of touch. And you don't really always have to be like a skin to skin type touch, because like what we're saying, your energy. So being in an area, even just sitting by someone, sitting at the table with someone, you still can feel each other's energy. So just getting out, being around people comfortable back in that type of setting.
I think the first time I was introduced to energy healing, I worked in a hospital. So I worked in a hospital. Most people don't know this, but I had a real job at one point. Not that what I do is not real, because it's a lot, but I worked in a hospital for 8.5 years. And I remember working on 2 West. That was a cancer floor. I remember working on 2 West one night, and I had a bad headache. My headache was killing me, and my head was killing me. And there was a nurse up there. Her name was Claire. And she came to my desk and she said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I got a really bad headache." And she took her hands and she did. Now she's a nurse, y'all. So understand what I'm saying. She is a nurse, right? So traditional nursing, medicine nurse. But this is what she did. She didn't say, "Hey, let me get you a towel." No, she didn't say that. She took her hands and rubbed it together like this, right? And then she put it around my head like this. And all I could feel like, it felt like, you know how you have something in your ear and it starts to drain out? That's what my head felt like. I had no idea what she was doing. All I know is by the time she finished this right here, my headache was gone. It was the weirdest thing. So but still, she didn't say what it was. She just did like this. She's like, "Wait a minute." And she did like this. Now, looking back in retrospect, I wonder how many times she did that to people. Because she worked on one of the toughest floors in the hospital, which was the cancer wing. And that was a tough floor. I hated working on that floor because I'm just one of those people. But she took her hands, rubbed it together, and then she put it on the sides of my head, and it felt like something was just draining out, like this. So when you say things like that, and people say that's not true, or you just making it up, it's all in your mind, that kind of. I lived it. So when she did it to me, I know. What do you say to those people? Because I know you get a lot of naysayers who only want to believe in traditional Western medicine. They don't want to believe in alternative medicine and all that kind of stuff. Everything is about, let me go to the doctor so he can tell me what pill I need to take to prolong this pain that I got. So what do you say to those people?
Well, I always tell people, don't talk from, what you've heard other people say, because that's basically what that is. When we're raised in our families, of course, we're going to adopt what our families teach us. And many of the religions would teach you that, okay, you can't do this. But I really don't understand that, because the religions usually talk about you being spirit in a physical body. So that alone, what is that? It's your spirit, it's your energy that activates the body. So if you are skeptical of it, I always tell people, at least try it. What would it hurt to try certain things so that you can dispel or confirm what it is that you believe in? But Audrey, if you can do that, if we can do that with the audience, what you were just saying that the nurse did, because that's one of the things that I like to kind of teach people about their energy. And that is like when you're rubbing your hands. So if you're out there and watching us, go ahead and rub your hands together. Audrey, rub your hands together. And it's just as basically, you're going to feel your energy feel. So when we're rubbing our hands together, and then we stop, and then just draw your hands back from each other, and then kind of push them, do them in together here. And you should feel something between the hands, right? And sometimes if it's, you can feel it there. Sometimes your energy ball can be a little bit bigger. So kind of go out and see where your hands kind of hold themselves back, right? Our energy field is so large. It just depends on how we're vibrating at that time, right? So you can feel that. Our hands are really the ways that we do send energy through, right? Outside of our aura, we have an aura around us. That's like when you go into a room and you're sitting by someone, you either feel good and you say, ooh, they got some good energy, or you sit by them and you just feel drained. Ooh, you want to get from around that person. That's their energy. Okay. And when I talk to people, when they come into my office, I always say to them, you and your body are totally different entities. You're two different entities. Your body is holding you. So when I'm looking at you and I'm talking to you, I'm talking behind those eyes, that part of you, that your consciousness, that part of being aware, right, of who you are. You're not your body. And that's what we get confused in. So when I'm holding sessions with my clients, that's what I tell them, Audrey, that you're not your body. And think about when you're listening to the news and they say, we found the body of someone. Why didn't they say they found the person? They say they found the body, because the energy has left the body. The energy is like a battery that activates our bodies, right? So that's how we need to look at that. And when we're looking at healing, our body is the last place that everything rests, right? That means that you have been through some spiritual stuff, you've been through some mental things, you've been through some emotional things, and now it's resting in the body. The body is the last place that you find it. So if it's in the body now, it has gone through all those other channels before it got there. Now, when you are having a massage, and if your practitioner is in tune, your body basically talks to the practitioner, but we have to be listening. Okay. When you have, can I go on with as far as what you're holding in the body? Would that be okay?
Oh,
Audrey?
absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I usually ask the questions too. What is going on with you? And first I'll ask, well, what problems are you having? They may say, I have problems in my shoulder and my neck, which is usually where many of us hold our stress areas, right? We hold the stress in our neck and our back. So that basically means we have a lot of responsibilities. You know, we have things on our plate that we're getting, and it's starting to stress us out. So you ever heard that saying, we're carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders? Yeah, that's what it feels like, because you have all these things that you're carrying around. You have your actions, your responsibilities, and then you might have children, you might have like your parents or other people. And I always stop to tell everyone this first: whatever you no longer need to take care of for yourself, get rid of it. We have to start unloading stuff, take things off our shoulders, off our back. And if it's something that you have that you're carrying for someone else, politely give it back to them. You don't have to carry everybody else's burdens, because you have enough of your own. And I try and tell people that all
Amen
the
to
time.
that.
And when we, yes, and when we learn that, Audrey, I tell you, it's like, oh, we can breathe a little bit better, right? Because we have enough of our own stuff to take care of. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
You know, I found, Bridget, that I carry my stress in here, in here, right? Okay. And I carry it in the back of my head. And the way I found that out was, I went to the dentist once. I had a real bad headache, right? I go to the dentist and he says to me, I had no cavities. He said to me, "Did you have trauma to the upper right side of your face?" And I said, "Well, no." He says, "Well, your tooth is cracked straight down the middle and your tooth is perfect." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "It's a crack straight down the middle and there's no cavities." And I'm like, huh. Well, come to find out, I grind my teeth. But what I later realized is that I carry all my stress in my jawline. And if you see me, you will see me just open my mouth real wide, because it's so much tension right here till I have a headache. Mm-hmm. And the only way for me to move that pressure is to open my mouth. And I've been in public where I'm like, oh my God. And I'll just open my mouth real wide, forget about people looking at me. It's like, I gotta release the pressure. So you talked about pressure in your neck and pressure, in your shoulders. How do people, because they may not be able to get to a masseuse, right? They may not be able to be blessed with someone that can know how to do all these things. What is some of the things they can do? For me, it's opening my mouth real wide to release the pressure. But what about the person who can't go like this and do it to themselves? What can they do to help them?
Well, okay, so if you your neck and everything is kind of hard to get to, especially like on your shoulders, if you can't really press those together. But they have different tools that you can use, some massage tools. They have the S stick that you can kind of put on and do some things. Listen, a tennis ball does great work for you. If you can put a tennis ball on the floor and you get on the floor. Now, if you can't get on the floor, I'll tell you another way you can do it. But if you get on the floor, even in your bed, put the ball where you have the pain and just kind of let that muscle rest on the tennis ball, and you'll feel that the muscle relieve. It just basically releases. Another way, if you can't get on the floor, put the tennis ball in a sock, and you stand on the wall and just let the sock kind of fall down behind you to where you need it, and just press against the wall. There are other tools out there. And if y'all just give me a bit, I am putting those things. I'm actually getting in some products, a line of products for Kello Life. And I am solidifying and completing all those deals on that. So you will see those on the website here coming soon. But just getting out there, having some of those tools that you can do by yourself. But you know what? When somebody else can do it for you, Audrey, I would rather somebody else do it.
And I agree. One of the members of the GWC gave me a massage gift card, and I was looking at my calendar like, I have to go get this massage. I need to find out what day I'm gonna go get. It was a Mother's Day gift, and I was like, I have to pick a day so I can go get this massage. So that is something I definitely have to do. Now, I want to talk about the business of being a master masseuse and having this as a business, because as you said, the pandemic kind of shut us all down, right? Mm-hmm. And so during that time when everything was just really hectic and stressed out and strained, your business is pretty much all about touch. How did you survive the pandemic?
Well, I have to admit now, it wasn't easy because we actually had to shut down. We could not have our businesses open. So, of course, that did cut my business. I was zero
Yeah.
making monies. So what I did was I took a little time off, yes, and then of course studying and still perfecting my craft, and waited until we were back on. However, just getting people to know that they could do some things on their own, and I still stayed in touch with some of my clients. I let them know that they can still do some stretching and what have you. I also referred them to some videos that they could look at together with people in their house, and then they can exchange massage amongst themselves until we got to a place, because we weren't really sure what we can do during the pandemic. We weren't sure when we were coming back. So of course, getting them some information that they can use amongst themselves with their family members in the home. And then some of those tools that I was just mentioning, I would have to tell them that as well. But yeah.
It's so funny because so many health and fitness millionaires were made during the pandemic because they had to pivot. They had to, start doing stuff on Facebook and LinkedIn, not LinkedIn so much, but YouTube and Instagram. And so now you have people doing workouts on all of these platforms. And I know for me, it was pretty simple because I could still go on Zoom and do like before then. I don't know how many times I use Zoom, not very often, but then everything became about Zoom. And then people, I remember being in a morning meetup, and they had a breakfast workout before the meetup on Zoom, and so we would all go on Zoom and I'm like, this is nuts. So I'm exercising at 5 o'clock in the morning on Zoom. Well, that became a way of life. So with that being said, as you move your business to Akilo 3.0, do you see yourself implementing digital products or digital training like apps and things like that? Because I feel like that whole pandemic, it was devastating for a lot of us, but from others, it was a great way to either pivot your business, start a new business, or expand the business that you were already in. Do you see yourself at some point maybe rolling out an app where people can, the things that you just said, like I don't know who knew that they could get a tennis ball and roll up against them. I don't know who knew that, but maybe somebody said, wait a minute, I can do that, because now it's an opportunity for them to learn more. Or do you see yourself at some point? Because that to me can become recession proof. It can become pandemic proof, because when stuff, I don't want to say something else, but I try to keep it family. When stuff shut down, that doesn't mean business have to stop for some of you. So like for you, Bridget, because you have modalities that you use and help people with, and now you can digitize all that. Do you see yourself at some point when you get to start to do 3.0, offering some type of app or some type of online training or membership or subscription for your services?
Oh, definitely. And I've begun that as far as teaching classes for couples, learning how to massage one another, and even parents with babies, to calm a child, to learn how to hold. And, we really, it'd be kind of hard to say this, but because people think they know how to touch, you really don't. I mean, we've been taught a way, but honestly, touch is all about, it's like a dance almost. You have to know your partner. And sometimes people just put their own ways on other people, right? And it's something where you have to listen, not only with your ears, but listen with your eyes, listen with your energy. I mean, all of those things, our senses, you can listen with your eyes, you can see with your ears. Isn't that something? And we can just do different things with all the different senses. Hands is not just for touch, but you know how when somebody say, let me see that, what they do? They holding out their hand, let me see it. So they want to touch it, they want to feel it. All those senses work together. So learning how to optimally use your senses to assist not only yourself, because we have to be in tune with ourselves, but then being in tune with others. So having those classes that are teaching self-care first, because when you learn how to take care of yourself, then everything else comes easy. right? So I do have some classes that I will be offering, as well as making these apps where they can just go on there and take the classes, at whenever they're ready for those. Getting certificates for some classes so that you can say, hey, I'm qualified. I've taken a class for this. Not saying that you got a license to go and do it, but at least amongst for yourself and your family, you'll have things that you will be able to use, and they will help you to be a better person. All right. And not only that, but the tools that I will be having also that goes along with those class that will be able to assist you when you're applying your newly learned material. So yes, I see that happening. And like I say, I do have a few of those things now in the works. And not to mention a book that's called Head to Toe. Look for that. It's coming soon. And in that book, Audrey, it is one that has been long coming, just teaching people again, self-care. How do I take care of myself when I have a headache? How do I take care of myself when I have shoulders, my back hurting, my legs hurting, sciatica kicking in? We're getting older now, so things are starting to kind of have its wear and tear, and we're starting to feel those things. But not to be discouraged, you still can, counter those things, but you have to have the tools and the knowledge to do just that, to help yourself.
Let me ask you a question. So do you think that since we're all energy, right? I was listening to Dr. Wayne Dyer one time, and Dr. Wayne Dyer, he believed in like energy healing. He believed that you can heal people no matter where you were in the world and where they were. He felt like you could send your energy to them and help them heal. And for some people, that's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be like I don't think that's the truth, that kind of thing. What's your thoughts on that? Because if we're all energy, and I want to send somebody good energy so they can heal, how does that work?
Okay, again, we're energy. Your thoughts are things. You've heard of that, right? Thoughts are things.
Yes.
And then we pray, and prayer, that's all that is sending out your words, your vibrations, your feelings, your energy toward a person, a thing, a situation. I believe in it, and I've actually done that, and here we go again. And if we sit down and we think about what we've done through the years, and when we pray for someone, we've seen them get better, what do you think that is? It's energy. It's the emotion, the feelings behind what we're thinking. We send those out. It's just like the radio waves that goes out on frequencies that go out. We possess the same things. We are towers. We are conduits that all of this energy comes through. You can sit right where you are. You can think a thought towards someone and send them love. I do that a lot with my children. My children are not here with me. My grandchildren are not. But what I would do is just in my mind, I would close my eyes and I would visualize them. And I would visualize myself giving them the biggest hug, and I'm sending them love. I'm sending them just good vibes. And people feel that. I mean, I've even had a situation where I had a friend that was sick, and I just kind of sat down and I went within. I've done this so many times, and it works. That's why I say, don't say something does not work until you've actually tried it. If you have doubts about it, then guess what? It won't work. But if you know that it will, it will. And you can send and you can heal people. Sometimes you can feel people's pain in your bodies. And I would say this, sometimes you can have a pain and it comes from out of nowhere and we'll accept it as ours. But don't do that, because you could be feeling other people's pains. And if you just accept it, then it's going to sit there in your body and it's going to stay there. But if you say, wow, my knee hurts and I don't know where this come from, and you haven't done anything to say aggravated or whatever, you just put your hand there and just pray and say, whoever is feeling this pain, I pray that they're healed, that they're better, and that it be gone, and then you'll feel it go away. But it does work.
You know what's crazy, Bridget? That happened to me the other day. I think, what's the day? Today is Tuesday. I think it was Saturday. I'm in the house, right?
Mhm.
And my knee, when I tell you my knee feel like it was just gonna pop out of place for no reason. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with my knee? It never occurred to me that it could have been somebody else having that problem. My knee literally felt like it was gonna move out of place. And I'm like, what? So I'm talking on the phone, and maybe whoever I was talking to, maybe it was their energy I was getting, but it felt like if I moved the wrong way, my knee was going to go out of place. Bridget and I have been in the same room. This is funny, y'all. This is before she was talking, before I knew all of the things that she did. So we were in a room together one day for breakfast, and she said, "I feel somebody having knee pain," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's me. That's me. Remember that?" We were at the restaurant, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's you. You feeling me?" Because it was crazy. Because that morning I woke up and my knee was killing me, and I was like, "Man, my knee is hurting me." I didn't say anything to anybody. It's just that when we got to the breakfast, she said something about it, and I'm like, "Yeah, you are definitely feeling my pain right now because my knee was hurting." And I think it was like, I don't know, was it a jury day or whatever it was? But all I know is I had knee pain when she said it. I'm like, "Yeah, you must be feeling me." So I feel that a lot of times I totally understand when you say you get other people's energy. I want to talk about Dr. Joe Dispenza. Like I love him. He talks a
Yes,
lot
yes.
about energy healing. He talks
Mhm.
about a lot about people who have had like cancers and things like that. I have his book, Supernatural. Now that to some people will be like, oh my God, that's voodoo, that's this, is that. It's science. And he's proven it over and over again that these things can happen. I love the work that he's doing. And I think the
Yes,
more that
yes.
we become in tune with all of the teachings of people who have really put the time and resources behind learning these things, we'll get better. Now,
Mhm.
the pharmaceutical industry, they may not like this, and my husband works in the industry, but you can heal yourself. Louise Hay said it
Yes.
years ago. You can heal yourself, and
Yes.
people don't believe that they
Yes.
can. So, talk a little bit about that
Mhm.
because I feel like there are people that only believe in Western medicine. They don't believe, and
Mhm.
I think the key word there is believe that it can be done.
Mhm. Right, right. So Audrey, I mean, there are so many great people out there that have like put their work forward to say, how all of this works. Uh, but if we really go and start within ourselves, we can see so many things that is around us, the miracles that are happening, and but for whatever reason, maybe because of society, how it has us, we are those beings. We have the ability to do so much. But through the years, it's gotten weaker and weaker until now we're going to a point where we don't even want to eat the right things. We just want a pill to fix it. We want to eat what we want to eat, even though we know it is wreaking havoc on our bodies. It's just causing all types of problems. We would rather go and get a pill. But there are things that we can do for ourselves. And like I said, the eating part is the number one. Food heals, right? Who was that? Was that Plato that says, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food? That's how we were
Mm.
created. That's what these bodies are for. It repairs itself. It's it's so beautiful. When I started getting into anatomy and seeing how it works, and even working with my clients and see how everything is connected. They can have a pain in their shoulder, but the issue is not the shoulder, it's down in the calf. So when I
Mm.
push on the calf,
Mm.
hey, I feel that way up here. So it's different areas. It's like a system. Okay, it's a system, a freeway. So if you have a blockage somewhere, it's going to block other things. Um, when you focus on yourself, and this is why I like people to come in and I say you need to get reacquainted back with yourself. You got to get back in touch. So when we say we want to go within and start looking at what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it, and then we start getting a place where, hey, I'm noticing some things, and now I see where this connection is. So let me not do this. Let me take this out of the equation and see how this heals me. Uh, we have all been, if we look back in our ancestry, right? I remember my grandfather coming and he would have sassafras tea. Do y'all remember that? It's a tree trunk. It's a bark of the tree where they would get that and actually boil it and drink it for like tummy aches, headaches, inflammation in the body. It's different things out there that you can get that you can help, that will help with your healing. But not only do you need to have like the foods and everything, it does start within. It starts with your mind. It starts with your mentality. What's going on with you, what you think, because when you start thinking certain things, then you get the dis-ease in your body. And that's when you start forming all of these problems, because your mind needs to be cleansed. You need to feed your mind good thoughts, you know. So yeah, it's real. It's real.
You know, I used to be in network marketing, and I had a man on my team. His name was Mr. Hodge. He wouldn't mind me sharing his name because I loved him. He was 88 years old then. He was my number one business partner. And he drank this tea that he bought from Florida. So we lived in Jersey at the time. But there was a tea that he bought from Florida. The tea cost $80 a gallon. A gallon. He ordered it every week. Yep. Every week he ordered it, and he swore by that tea. And he said to me, he said he had prostate cancer and he had to have radiation, and the radiation burnt through his urethra. And so he constantly would get infections. So in order for him not to get that, he would drink the tea. So he had this tea, and the tea cost $80 a gallon, y'all. But he swore by, he was 88 years old. He was my best business partner. He had more energy than everybody. He had 2 girlfriends. We used to call him Player. Like, go ahead on Player. He had 2 girlfriends. And he used to crack me up, you know. But he said to me, when my mom was having issues, right? She was having, she had COPD. He said, get that tea for your mother. My mother was like, we're not paying $80 for no tea. I was like, yes, we are. The tea was disgusting. Now, let me just start by saying that it was nasty. But I bought that tea, and my mom really didn't want to admit that she felt better. And I said to her, after we bought it, we paid $80 for that tea, because I would have did anything for my mom. I bought that tea, and she drank that tea. And I said to her, well, how do you feel? So she would say, I feel all right. But the more she drank that tea, the better she felt. And so it's truth in that, let our food be our medicine. Now, here's the thing. Let me just touch on that, because you said that. Whenever you talk to people about eating healthy, eating better, the first thing they say is, oh, it's expensive to be healthy. It's expensive to eat well. It's expensive. How about it's expensive not to?
And do you want to have all of those pains and things? You have to really say what is worth it. We'll spend money on what we want to spend it on. Okay. Yeah. So I think I would rather be healed and healthy than, some of the other things that we do. However, yes, we do. We tend to go out and say it's too expensive, but honestly, it really isn't. You can get like frozen fruits and vegetables, the fresh fruits and vegetables. If we look at like all the meats, and if we're going out to eat every night, we're looking at about $10 a meal, like a regular meal, maybe at the fast food place. Maybe, maybe $10 for you getting a hamburger, fries, and a drink. Really, well, I don't want to talk about the nutritional values on that, but you, if you go and say get a full meal, I'm quite sure you can get a nice vegetable, a nice, just a nice meal. And we have people out there now, and you all have seen them. They are making meals for you. They're making meals. You don't even have to worry about it. I know one of my friends, her name is Chef B. Chef B does some meals, and y'all need to look her up, and she does an excellent job with that. And then we have some people who are even within our place that they're looking at your nutritional values of everything, and they take the guesswork out of it. I get it, because sometimes you can. If you're used to cooking a certain way all the time, then now you're trying to change, but just change gradually. That's another thing. Changing gradually. You don't have to just go cold turkey, because if it's something that you don't like, you're going to stop doing it and you're going to go back to the other way. But if you gradually do it, then that's the way to go. So what are some things that you can do gradually? Instead of you say meats, if you want to take meats out of the diet, look at mushrooms. If you like mushrooms are an excellent substitute for meat, and you can prepare them just like you do your meats. You can fry it, you can bake it, just many ways that you can do that, as well as how they have cauliflower steaks now. I mean, it's just different ways. Just learn how to season everything up, and look, it'll taste really good. Yeah.
I could tell you this. I never liked vegetables, right? Even growing up as a kid, my brother and I remember, I'm never going to forget this. My brother and my mother would make us sit down to eat, right? I don't eat corn. I don't eat rice. I don't eat cornbread. I don't eat black eyed peas. I don't eat collard greens. I don't eat cabbage. I eat none of that stuff. And I never have. So when we were little, my mother would make us sit there and she would say to my brother, y'all can't get up to order eat her vegetables. And so my brother wanted to go out and play with my cousins. So my cousins lived next door, and it was a lot. It was like 13 of them for real. And it was 2 of us, and we lived next door. So my brother wanted to go out and play, but we couldn't leave the table until I ate my vegetables. So I would say to him, well, I'll eat your meat if you eat my vegetable. And he would eat my vegetables. And I would eat his meat so he could go play, because he wanted to go play. And so that's the only way we got a chance to go out and play. But fast forward to today. As the older I got, I realized I still don't like vegetables that much. But here's what I discovered, right? By accident. I used to eat squash, right? Somebody made squash, and I was like, this is delicious. They made a casserole. I was like, this is delicious. So I will even, Bridget, to this day, make squash. I just started eating about 3 years ago. I never, went to lunch with Georgette about a month ago. Never ate a Brussels sprout in my life. It looked like a little cabbage. I don't want it. I'm not going to eat it. She orders a side order of Brussels sprouts. And I'm thinking, let me try one of them. Had lemon pepper on it. So I like lemon pepper. Oh my God, these are delicious. Now my husband went out and bought all these Brussels sprouts, and we got them in the freezer. I eat those. My daughter is very healthy. Very, very healthy. She eats all the vegetables. She cooks all the time. She doesn't eat out a lot. She eats very healthy. She made these string beans with some garlic and something on it. Some beans I never had eaten. I was like, oh my God. Now I love these things, but it's because that they was introduced to it. Now I still don't eat collard greens, y'all. I know. I cannot, for some reason. She put Mother's Day dinner, and she had collard greens and rice and oxtails. I could not eat the rice and the collard greens. I can't eat it. I can't eat that. However, I will eat coleslaw. So I'll eat cabbage raw. I'll eat cauliflower raw. I'll eat carrots any kind of way. I'll eat spinach. So I'm better now. But before I got to this point where I was better, and maybe you can touch on this, before I got to this point where I would eat a Brussels sprout or eat a green bean, I realized I needed vegetables in my system. So I started taking these green supplements, super green, super this, super that. So then I became, I started to OD on just all kind of supplements because I knew I wasn't getting through my food. Is that a replacement, or could that help you, even if you're a person like me who did not like vegetables, but you want to take supplements, super greens and all this stuff? Is that a way to at least get some of it in? And does it really help? Because, now it's manufactured. Maybe some of the properties that would be in a fresh vegetable may be gone. I don't even know if what I'm taking is good or not. So what about the person like me who said, I want to be healthy, but I just don't like that stuff. I don't like collard greens. I'm not going to eat corn.
Right. So, there are supplements that are out there. I'm not going to say all of them are good, but I will say, in addition to your foods that you're eating, your supplements were good, but of course they can't take the place of your nutrition through food. Now, what I would suggest is what I've done over the years, because I used to make smoothies for myself, and these is what I also have with my company. I have 3 drinks that are a third one that's coming on, but I have what we call Glamorous Greens and Red Radiance. And with those drinks, I have put your greens in there, a few of your fruits, we have like the turmeric, ginger, your flax seeds, your chia seeds, you know, a lot of good things that's going to pour back nutrients into your body that you wouldn't normally probably eat, but sometimes you can drink it because it's palatable or what have you. Even beets are in the red radiance. So sometimes if you don't want to eat it and just feel it all around your tongue, mask it in something else like a smoothie. You know, get those green vegetables in there any type of way that you can. And even with your children, you know, smoothies are just a great thing to have. And I think that's an excellent way, again, to get all of the nutrients that you need in like a meal form. You know, liquid meals is what I call my line of drinks. They're liquid meals, and they contain so many nutrients and vitamins that your body will take on. Now, instead of you eating a whole plate, and sometimes people miss different meals, and they're important to have meals. So why not drink it instead of sitting down and eating it, right? You can get your whole, all of what you need with a drink. You can probably drink it down within the first, I don't know how people drink usually, but maybe the first minute or so, you got your meal. Yes.
Yes.
But yes, you can do those things, but just try. Yeah. Go ahead.
So many of us are so busy right now. I think that's a great idea because I know that I'm always on the go, right? And I used to eat a lot of fast food, like a lot. I don't do it now because it makes me sick. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to name the chicken company, but I used to eat that at least once a week. And my husband and I had eaten it probably I've been doing the fasting diet, and I hadn't eaten it probably about 4 weeks. And he brought, I was like, oh yeah, bring me some chicken. He brought that chicken home. And when I tell you I was balled up in a knot, I was like, what in the what? I felt awful. And so I felt like my body had gotten rid of all of that. And I eat a lot of seafood. Like I love seafood, y'all. So I may not eat all that other stuff, but I'll eat seafood 3-4 times a week. Like that's what I do. But I ate that chicken, Bridget. And when I tell you, I felt awful. I felt so bad. All I could do is just crawl up on the bed in a ball. But now, now I realize, well, Audrey, you could do it because you've done it. But it's kind of hard to go back to bad eating once you kind of start on this path, because then you feel bad. And I don't have time to feel bad. I don't like to feel bad, but you will feel bad. So people that's trying to put a game plan, a holistic living game plan in place, and they may be thinking, well, I want to do this, but I don't see it for me, especially like in the inner city. I grew up in the inner city. I grew up in Newark. There were just food deserts. Like there was no grocery stores where you can go buy fresh anything. You just didn't. And I still don't think there are. And so having access to fresh vegetables and things like that, it just had to go to the grocery store. And if you didn't have the money for that, well, you go to McDonald's. That's what happened. The closer you're going to get to a vegetable is a French fry. And so now that people are becoming more aware and more focused on being healthy, and they want to create this holistic plan for themselves, what are some of the steps they can do to start down that path? Because I feel like you said before, food and energy together can get you healed like the right way. What are some of the steps they can take to start this new path to holistic living and better health?
Yeah. So number one, what is it? They have to ask themselves, what is it that they really want? What is it that they're wanting to accomplish? All right, with themselves, and be easy on yourself, but not too easy where you're not making these changes, right? Sometimes we do have to, be a little stern. Make out what you want to do because we have to understand, number one, if we don't take care of ourselves, then those who we take care of are going to be neglected, right? Because if you're not well, we're not going to be able to take care of the other things and other people that we have. So finding out what it is that you want for yourself, right? If it's another ideal weight that you have, get it all in your head, write it down, do a vision board. Sometimes we just need these things ever before us, and a vision board would be perfect to do that. Things that you're wanting to accomplish and goals that you're setting. So start off simple, right? What can I do for myself? Start breathing exercises are some things that just kind of gets you to. So learning how to relax the body, relax the mind. Okay, starting to put out some things. Let's start eating a little bit better. Maybe just like you were saying, Audrey, you were going to that place at least once a week. Some people go out to eat every day of the week. So maybe start cutting back instead of going every day of the week. Start preparing your food and your meals. That's something that my husband and I do. We'll go like on a Sunday and get like our lettuce and everything that we're going to make. And we plan our meals. Planning. Oh my goodness, planning is so very important, because if you don't plan, how they say, if you fail to plan on failing, right?
Yeah.
So we want to do some things that we want to map it out for ourselves. And if you have already prepared your foods for yourself through the week, then guess what? You're not going to be, you're not going to go out and just get all of the junk foods that you really don't need because you have that. Now, if you're committing to that and you slip up one day, because sometimes you might not want to eat healthy, and I get that, you can go ahead and have what you want, but have it in moderation. Sometimes not eating large portions of what you like, even cutting back, makes a big difference in how your body feels. Sometimes we can give ourselves so much junk till, it's overriding everything else. But even if you just cut back on it, you'll see the difference in your life. But planning, Audrey, I think is the first thing that people need to do for themselves. And yeah, it makes it easier to adopt that lifestyle.
And I think that's so key. I remember going to one of the weight loss programs, and that was what they pumped in your head. You have to plan. You have to plan for everything. Now, for a person like me, that was kryptonite. Like plan, like my life is hectic. When do I have time to plan? So for me, that's why the fasting program works for me, because I know from 8 to 8, that's 12 hours, and if I wait to 12, that's 16. I'm good. So for between that time and from between 8 o'clock at night and 12 o'clock the next day, if I don't eat anything, I'm good.
Right.
So, and what's the crazy part about this? In between, I'm working, so I don't eat a lot, and I found that has been working really well for me. But what I also found, Bridget, is that my stomach shrunk, and so I was like, I thought I was sick. I was like, wait a minute, like I feel horrible, right? And me and my husband went to dinner last Friday. And I love crabs. So we had crabs, but I had a little bit of crabs. And I said to him, man, I feel awful. I felt like I had eaten so much. And this is what I would normally eat. Like, this is the portion I would normally eat. But then I realized, I was talking to one of my young ladies. And I said to her, man, I feel like, and she's an exercise fanatic, so she's in great shape. And she's like, she told me, she said, your stomach shrunk. I was like, oh, is that what happened? Because I thought I was sick. I'm like, oh my God, something is wrong. Well, because I had been doing 12, 16 hours on the fast. And then in between that time, I'm one of those people, I'm a workaholic. So I really don't want to eat while I'm working because it distracts me. So I won't snack in between hardly. Like, I won't do that. So because now I'm distracted and I can't do my work. So she's like, no, your stomach shrunk. And I was like, oh, but when I got on the scale, I was like, oh, I like the way that looks like this. I was excited about that. So, I just love everything you're saying and everything you're doing for people, because we only get this one body that we're in. Now, I don't know. We get that one body, y'all. Now, I don't know. We may be doing some jumping some other times, but right now we got this one that we have right this minute, and we need to take care of that. So the work that you're doing, Bridget, is just amazing. And I thank you for taking time to share with the listeners and the viewers about what they can do to live, even if you can't afford to get to a masseuse or don't have the time. You can afford it, you just don't have the time. There are things that you can do at home, and she shared some of those things with you. Now, if they want to work directly with you, how can they reach out to you?
Definitely. You can go to my website, which is AKellolife.com. That's AKELLOLIFE.com. And just peruse through the website, see what all I have to offer. And then it's a book now. You can just go and book those massages for yourself. I even do counseling. Sometimes, we want to get out of our head. We don't realize, Audrey, that we have the answers to everything that we need. We know the answer. Sometimes we don't like the answer, but we know it. And we have to just need someone just to kind of like, so when I'm doing my the counseling and everything, I don't tell you what to do. I let you sort it through, and then you know what to do. You'll bring it back up for yourself. And as far as the body goes, yes, getting that mind right, the spirit right, the emotions right, and then the body starts to heal itself. But we'll start with the body. We'll massage and basically allow you to feel again, because sometimes we don't feel. We cut off from the body. So I put you back in your body so that you'll be back in your mind, so that you can get back in your spirit, so that you will be good with yourself. And then you're able to help others. Because if you're not good, then those around you are not going to be as best as they could be, because they're missing you as that great link. So akellolife.com. You can even call. The number is 678-390-5096. We can get you set up for an appointment, get you on a track for that body feeling better, and even getting you in a place where, you know, the meals that you're drinking, right, are helping you eat, to be even healthier and feel better. When you feel better, you do better, and you are better. So we want the best version of you. And that's what we're wanting to do.
What's the number again?
The telephone number is 678-390-5096.
All right. There it is, y'all. Listen, give her a call. She's standing by. She's standing by to take your call and to make you feel better, to renew your energy and your spirit all at one time.
Yes.
Call her.
Yes,
So,
yes,
Bridget,
yes.
thank you again for being here. I really appreciate you. I'm so glad that you're a part of the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce. Listen, our
Yes.
chamber is the BOMB, baby. It's the bomb.
Yes,
We got
it
some-
is.
Yes. We have some
Amazing people. Y'all
amazing-
need to come and join.
Yes, we have amazing women in this chamber. And listen, even if you are somewhere else in the world, we welcome you with open arms. You don't have to be in Gwinnett County. You don't even have to be in the state of Georgia. But if you are a woman in business or a woman thinking about going into business and you want to be a part of a community that's nurturing and powerful all at the same time, we invest in the whole woman, not just one part, not just your business, because without good health, you can have no business. So just know that. I've been doing this thing for 26 years, and whenever I fall down sick, if without me, there is no business. So I have to, that's why I take so many supplements, Bridget. I'm chewing. I got some chewables I take in the morning, chewables I take at night, vitamins in the middle. Oh my God. My husband and I, Amazon love us, because every time they find something new. So I go downstairs and I'm gonna let y'all go. I go downstairs this morning, right? There is a red onion, some garlic cloves, some honey. I know that's the recipe for some concoction that they done saw on TikTok. I already know. And I was like, no, what is this for? I already know it's some kind of concoction they're going to make up for us to take. So that was down on the counter this morning. But anyway, thank you again. We will be back again on Sunday with another great woman from the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce. We invite you to come. So if you want to become a member of our community and our family, go to www.gwinnettwomenschamber.com. We'd be happy to have you. And even if you're far away, we have events that are virtual. We have 4 to 6 events that's virtual, so you don't get to miss anything. So, Bridget, I know you got to go make somebody feel better, darling. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your great energy, and I will see you soon.
And I thank you for having me. Yes, yes. Y'all have a great one.
All right. Listen, guys, tune in. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss. You're going to want to get. Now, this person coming up Sunday, she's hilarious. She makes us laugh all the time. Her energy is amazing, and her heart is pure. So be sure to subscribe to the channel to get her interview this coming Sunday at 1:30 p.m. so you can tune in live. She'll be live just like this, and we are streaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Amazon. Yes, Amazon. Yes, you can stream live on Amazon. But you got to be special. You got to be special. and I'm just kidding. All right. Have a good one, Bridget. Thanks again.
All right. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Talk Business with Audrey. Bringing you another powerful resource to help you start or grow your business so that you can live the boss life. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the show now, share it with your friends, and drop Audrey a note over at www.talkbusinesswithaudrey.biz.